To understand why Mahindra is such a powerhouse today, we have to go back to 1953. India was a young nation, full of ambition, but painfully short on infrastructure. Roads were broken, maps were unreliable, and entire regions were almost unreachable. The Indian government needed a vehicle that didn't care about conditions, something that could climb the Himalayas, cross rivers, and survive the deserts of Rajasthan. Mahindra answered that call by assembling the Willys CJ-3B Jeep. It wasn't fast, it wasn't comfortable. Its Hurricane engine made just 72 horsepower, but it never stopped. This Jeep didn't just transport people, it built confidence. It carried soldiers, engineers, doctors, and farmers into places where roads simply didn't exist. And in the process, it taught Mahindra one defining lesson: ruggedness over everything. For the next 4 decades, Mahindra didn't chase luxury. They chased reliability. From the MM540 in the 1980s to the legendary Mahindra Major, these vehicles weren't sold in air-conditioned showrooms. They were sold in the mud. This era forged the Mahindra DNA, a ladder-frame chassis, heavy diesel engines, simple mechanicals that could be repaired with a hammer and a wrench. Mahindra wasn't building cars. They were building tools for survival. By the early 2000s, India began to change. Highways were improving, cities were expanding. Buyers wanted comfort, but they didn't want to lose that raw, Jeep-like character. In 2002, Mahindra took its first major leap forward with the Scorpio. It was bold, muscular, and unapologetically Indian. For the first time, Mahindra showed that toughness could also be desirable. Then in 2010 came the Thar, a modern tribute to the original 1953 CJ-3B. Same short wheelbase, same upright windshield, same go-anywhere attitude, but this time with a CRDE engine and modern engineering. The Thar wasn't perfect, but it was authentic, and that authenticity turned it into a cult classic almost overnight. Yet inside Mahindra's engineering teams, a realization was forming. To become a global player, rugged Jeeps alone were not enough. They needed something different. They needed a monocoque SUV, a vehicle where the body and frame were a single structure, stronger, safer, and far more stable at high speeds. This was unfamiliar territory for a company built on tractors and ladder frames. It was a gamble, and it would change everything. On September 29, 2011, Mahindra rewrote its own future. The XUV 500 was unveiled. Inspired by a cheetah, India's fastest predator, the design was unlike anything the country had ever seen. Aggressive lines, a jaw-like grille, door handles shaped like paws, headlamps that looked alive. For the first time, an Indian SUV looked futuristic, but the real shock was inside. A 6-speed transmission, a sunroof, advanced safety features. These were technologies usually reserved for German luxury brands, and yet, this was a Mahindra. The response was explosive. For nearly a decade, the XUV 500 ruled Indian roads. It proved something critical, not just to buyers, but to Mahindra itself. India could build sophisticated global standard SUVs, and Mahindra was ready for the next leap. In 2021, Mahindra did the unthinkable. They discontinued the XUV 500 and replaced it with something even more ambitious, the XUV 700. This wasn't an upgrade, it was a statement. For the first time in India, a mass-market SUV offered Level 2 ADAS. The car could steer itself, brake itself, and maintain lanes on the highway. It felt less like a car and more like a computer on wheels. Under the hood were the most powerful engines in the segment: the 2.0-liter M-Stallion petrol, the 2.2-liter M-Hawk diesel. Mahindra split the lineup with precision: the MX series for value-driven buyers, the AX or Adrenox series for those who wanted maximum technology. It came as a 5-seater and a 7-seater, manual and automatic, petrol and diesel. On paper, it was perfect, but the market was about to shift. Again, without an announcement, without a farewell. The five-seater XUV 700 quietly disappeared. Mahindra's official lineup now showed only 6- and 7-seater configurations. This wasn't an oversight. It was a calculated move. Indian buyers had spoken. Space had become power. A third row wasn't just for families. It was a symbol of status. Bigger SUVs sold better. And Mahindra leaned fully into that reality. The XUV brand was no longer about versatility. It was about dominance. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.